Welcome guys to the Meet Damien live stream here. We got a sea of red. I got the crypto bubbles up above on the screen right now, and another red day here in the markets. Unfortunately, we just had a PCE report came out, which is an inflation report. It's a report about inflation, and it showed that inflation came in as expected. Nothing too crazy as far as I can see, right? It just means that we still have inflation, right? The PCE report came in at 0.2%. They were expecting 0.2%, and last month it was at 0.2%. So what would have been better is if it came in lower than that at like 0.1 or even 0, okay? And that probably would have helped us out here on Bitcoin and crypto. But Bitcoin was already showing signs that it wanted to come down for a little bit of a correction today. We were losing some of our bullish momentum. If you look at the momentum indicators here, I'm going to start to zoom in here a little bit as I show you what the price of Bitcoin is doing right now. Bitcoin is currently trading at $88,660. And I was looking at the smaller time frames here, but we'll start with the higher time frames first. On the daily time frame, I mean, yeah, Bitcoin is it's been in a downtrend ever since October. We all know that, right? Making lower highs, and also as lower lows as well. Okay, and we're still in suspect territory. We don't know if this is going to end up being another lower high here for Bitcoin. Okay. We were enjoying the fact that we were trying to make a higher low here on Bitcoin instead of making lower lows. All right, so we had basically what they call a counter trend rally. So the trend is downward. Okay, we're still expecting Bitcoin to go down to lower prices until Bitcoin proves to us that it actually is going to climb up to higher prices, and it tried doing that the last couple of weeks here. Okay. And this is what we call a counter trend rally, right? We're going against the trend. The trend is downward, and now here we are going upward, okay? If this was a bull market, it will look something like this. If I flip the chart upside down, right? You would say, oh my God, Bitcoin is rallying up to higher prices, and now it's doing a little bit of a correction, okay? If this was a bull market, this would be the trend would be going up, and then the counter trend would be going down. For those who don't know what counter trend means, okay, counter trend just means you're doing the opposite of the long-term trend here, okay, and yeah, we are counter trending the downtrend, and we are, we were coming up against this 21 EMA, this white line, which I think was really great to see that we actually got above it, okay, but here's the thing that sucks, we didn't stay above the 21-day EMA, okay. We closed above it here on Wednesday. Yesterday we had a little bit of a red day. Okay, that's fine, but you stayed above it. But now today we're getting pushed back below the 21-day EMA. So I have to start being bearish again here on Bitcoin. And being bearish is kind of the thing to do. And it's been the right thing to do for like the last couple of months here. Okay. Unfortunately, right? Bitcoin. And what I want to see next is I want to see Bitcoin make another higher low, Okay, because if we make another higher low and we stop going, like Bitcoin needs to stop going down in price right now. It needs to like start going back up again. Okay, but we could end up coming down to like 84K, somewhere above 84,000, somewhere above 84,000. I would say we got as low as 83,800 here on Monday. You can go down to like 83,900 and still make a higher low or make a case for a higher low. It would suck to go down to that low of a price, but you would still be making a higher low, and bulls can be like, hey, yeah, we're still making higher lows here on the daily time frame, and they wouldn't be wrong. Okay, all right, but I mean, I would like the bleeding to stop right now, right? Wouldn't you like the bleeding to stop right now? I know I would. Okay, because you know we're kind of defeating this this whole counter trend thesis here, and this could end up just being another bear flag, right? We've already seen bear flags before here on our way down, right? Where this was kind of like a bear flag here in the middle of November. You could say that, you know, this was sort of like a bear flag here in October, okay? And we're still on our way, probably making another bear flag, okay? And if this is a bear flag, then you guys, you know, this is probably the highest price you could have sold Bitcoin. That's why I'm a little bit happy with myself that I sold a little bit of Solana earlier this week at like $143, and I sold some Bitcoin at like $93,000, okay? I'm kind of happy that I did that. I did want to see Bitcoin climb up to higher prices and go up to like $96,000 where I could sell some more Bitcoin at 96, and then also see it come up to this $102,000 area that I was looking at, which is previous price action back here in the beginning of November. I was looking forward to selling some more Bitcoin and some more Solana if Bitcoin actually climbed up to 102K. But right now, it's looking kind of bearish, especially with what we're getting with today's red candle here, totally destroying the last couple of days of price appreciation and bringing us back down towards, you know, probably the mid 80Ks is where Bitcoin wants to go next if we're going to continue dropping like this. And I am bearish, and it is a red day. That's why I'm wearing this red shirt here. Usually when we get a bad red day here, I'll wear a red shirt, signifying that we're getting a red day in the market. It's a red candle here. But anyways, let's see what I can do here to try to make a bullish case if I can here. The bullish case would be if we can just make a higher low and, you know, just stop going down, right? If we can just stop going down right now and go up to higher prices, then, you know, and get above this 21 EMA, then I would go back to being cautiously optimistic on Bitcoin. But because we're losing this 21 exponential moving average, I am now putting on my bear cap and I'm going to be bearish. Let's look at the oscillators here real quick on the daily time frame before I get into the smaller time frames here. You can see here on the daily time frame on Market Cipher B, which is one of my favorite indicators, we actually had a red sell dot that came in today, so that's not good. All right, we had a little bit of green on the money flow, which was getting us, you know, feeling a little bit better earlier this week about Bitcoin and crypto, but looks like we're starting to curve back down a little bit here. We'll pay attention to tomorrow and this weekend to see if money flow stays in the green or if it's going to start curving back down here, okay? But this is a little bit of a warning, right? You got a red sell dot, and usually when you see a red sell dot, you could get like another few bad days of profit taking and selling before you get a green buy dot. Now, we did have a red sell dot on Monday, right? But then immediately following that on Tuesday this week, we saw a green buy dot because Bitcoin basically erased, you know, whatever selling it did here on Monday. You know, we had that red bearish engulfing candle here on Monday that brought us down, and then we had a Uno reverse here, and we came right back up and had a bullish engulfing candle. So that kind of threw people off there a little bit. It could happen this weekend. Maybe we get another Uno reversal and we get a green buy dot showing up tomorrow. But right now we have a red sell dot, so I'm a little bit worried about Bitcoin and crypto going to lower prices here. On the MACD, on the daily time frame, we still have some green buying pressure here, but now we're getting a light green candle showing that the buying pressure is starting to die down today, at least. And I would start to worry when this blue line, if this blue line crosses down past below this orange line on the MACD, then I would start to worry that we're probably going to see some more selling going on here in Bitcoin and crypto. All right. So yeah, this is not looking good on the daily time frame here. You got a little bit of warnings here, but like on the 4-hour time frame, and then I'll go into the 1-hour time frame. Let's see what the 4-hour time frame is showing. 4-hour time frame on market cipher B, you did have red showing up here on the money flow, and that started showing up here last night, going into this morning. And you had a red sell dot that came in on Thursday morning here. Okay. And we know like yesterday wasn't the greatest day for Bitcoin and crypto, and now we're kind of getting some follow through here where the momentum is going to the downside. So obviously shorts are playing out instead of longs. I actually tried shorting this morning and I got knocked out of my short when we had the PCE report come out. Probably should have expected that, but anyways, we do see that here on the MACD indicator. We do have buying pressure dying down, has been dying down on the 4-hour time frame all throughout Thursday, and now selling pressure is starting to increase here. All right, so I think shorts, if you want to make a scalp and make some money here on crypto, you should be looking for shorts right now, going through this afternoon and this evening here, until you start seeing like you know, the selling pressure dying off here on the MACD, which we haven't seen yet. Going into the 1-hour time frame on Bitcoin, and this is probably the smallest time frame I'll get into on Bitcoin. But here on the MACD, we've been having selling pressure ever since Wednesday, where we've been having red, and just more red. And every time the selling pressure dies off, it starts increasing again. Like selling pressure was dying off here, and then it increased, and then it died off again, and then it started increasing again. So this is not good, okay, on the MACD, on the 1-hour time frame. On market cipher B, on the 1-hour time frame, like we had money flow going from green into the red around Thursday morning here, and it's been in the red. It was showing that money flow was starting to increase again here on Thursday night, but then going into Friday morning, it started increasing again, okay? So the momentum indicators that I use, they're not like end-all be-all indicators. Like it could show like money flow starts to increase again, only for it to then start decreasing, okay? So yeah, you gotta wait for that confirmation where the money flow actually goes into the green for you to be bullish. And then same thing here, you know, if money flow was dropping down, right, from green into red, that's when you would consider going into a short, right? When you see the red start showing up here on the money flow. All right, but anyways, hopefully that makes sense to you guys here. On the 1-hour time frame, we are in oversold condition here. All right, so maybe this might be the lows for today on Bitcoin, and Bitcoin can start climbing up to higher prices here. But on the 1-hour time frame, we are at an RSI of like 22. Anything below 30 is considered oversold conditions here. So we are in oversold conditions. So I mean, you could take a short thinking that it might go down a little bit lower, but you got to be careful here because the move might have already been made, and Bitcoin might start climbing up to higher prices again. All right, in the short term here. Well, let me catch up on the chat, see what you guys have to say in the chat here. Let's see how you guys are saying in TikTok. I got TikTok and a YouTube live stream going on, and we got Laureen in the chat saying that she'll have to watch later, but she shared the live. Thank you for sharing the live here, Laureen, and thank you for liking the live here. And let's see what else. Laureen wants me to take a look at Tesla. Are you still in the chat, Laureen? You want me to take a look at Tesla? And you say, can you look at Tesla on the micro, see what the story is? It goes down with Bitcoin too sometimes. All right. Let's get back into the price action here. So let me just tell you like what I did earlier today. I was actually trying to short Ethereum earlier, but I got knocked out of my short. Let's see here on the 1 hour time frame, right? I saw just like Bitcoin, I saw that the indicators are showing that Ethereum was going down to the downside here, and I wanted to get into a short. And when I got into the short, because that PCE report came in, and it was like it wasn't a good report, but it wasn't a bad report. It just came in just as expected. But some of the bulls took that and they ran with it, and they brought the price of Ethereum up to like 3104, and I'm sorry, not 3104. They brought it up to like 3159, and I actually had my stop loss at 3150, and I got stopped out. I got stopped out of my short, and then they sent it down. So that kind of hurts to see that I was right about the price going down, and I wasn't able to actually enjoy those gains there because I got stopped out. I did some other things this morning, and then I went back and looked at the charts again, and I was like, oh my god, they stopped me out, and they took it down to like pretty much where I thought it was gonna go down to. I was gonna try to take profit at near $3,000 Ethereum. Let me see if I can actually show you on MEXC here what it actually looked like here. You get into Ethereum on the charts here. And let's just look at the 15-minute time frame here. Let's zoom out, maximize the chart here a little bit. But yeah, let's see. Yeah, I was trying to sell Ethereum at 3128. Okay. And then, then they came out with a PCE report, and they stopped me out here around 3142 on my short. Actually, I was trying to sell at 3150. I don't know why it's not showing that, but yeah, it's showing that I got filled here at 3142. So maybe I actually had it at 3140 then for the stop loss. But yeah, I got stopped out, and yeah. Doesn't always play out the way that you want it to play out here. Sometimes you get stopped out, even though you might be right about the direction of the trade. If you're not on the charts, minute by minute, then in this case, I probably could have re-entered the short at this area because I had my stop loss. The reason why I had my stop loss up in that area is because we had these moving averages that I thought would protect me from getting stopped out, but we actually came up past these moving averages, came up to the 200 moving average at 3154, and then we kind of got rejected here, okay, on the 15-minute time frame. And let's see on the 5-minute time frame. Let me look at the 5-minute time frame here. Yeah, 5-minute time frame here. Yeah, I put my stop loss right above the 200 moving average on the 5-minute time frame. And the bulls were able to push the price up past that, knocked me out of my stop, and then they sent it down. Okay. And I thought in the moment there that we were actually going to maybe continue this bullish pattern to the upside. I thought we were like doing a bull flag here, so I tried buying in. I tried buying back in again at 3137, and then I got stopped out. I got stopped out. I put the stop loss below the low here at we got down to $3,081 here on Ethereum, and I got stopped out at 3,079. So here I was, I tried shorting, I got stopped out. Then I tried to go long, and I got stopped out on the long. Okay, I probably should have just stuck to my original game plan of shorting, right? But when you have market-driven events like the PCE report, it can throw things off here, and that's what happened to me today. Like I was in the short, it was in profit. Then they came in with the PCE report, and I got stopped out of my short. I thought, okay, I guess we're gonna be bullish today, and I bought in with a long, and then here we are. The PCE report just wasn't good enough for them to continue bring the price to higher prices, and we continued to downtrend, and then I got stomped out of my long. Okay, so that's unfortunate. that the market could do these things, that the market-driven events like the PCE report can knock you out of your position, have you do like a false move up, only for it to then go down in the direction that the market was already trending, which was we were already going down to lower prices here. So I just could have stayed in my short. I probably could have reinitiated my short here, right? But I was like, you know, I'll give it a chance. Maybe we are going to be bullish today, and I decided to go long. And I was wrong. I was wrong on that. So I was wrong twice here. And it's not the greatest feeling, right? To get stopped out on your short when you thought you might have been right, okay? And then only to get stopped out on the long again because you thought maybe the market was going to change direction on you, and it didn't. It just continued in the same direction as the original game plan was, which was to be bearish and stay short. All right, let's see what do we have here in the chat here. All right, so Lorraine made a request for Tesla. So I'm going to go ahead and look at Tesla here on the trading view for Lorraine. I'm assuming Lorraine is probably in Tesla because this is like the third time she requested it this week. But let's see what Tesla's doing here on the charts. Let's get into the daily time frame here. Tesla currently trading at $453, down slightly. I don't know why it's showing a green candle, even though we're negative for the day. This is the weird thing about the stock market and these charts here. But anyways, going back to the price levels here to be looking for, we are looking to see if Tesla is going to continue going up to $470, which is where it was at back here in November and back here in October earlier this year. I think Tesla is marching its way up to higher prices here, especially if we're going to get interest rate cuts. I think that's going to be beneficial for Tesla and Tesla stock, where more people will start buying Teslas if they can get cheaper loans and cheaper interest rates here. But to the downside, if Tesla does decide to drop down, we could come back down to the 786 retracement at $433, this blue level right here. Or we might even come and revisit the $410, $404 level here, this 0.618 retracement. And that'd be a stronger buy zone, because I think by that point, the 50-day moving average, the simple moving average, this green line, is trending upward. And if price does come down, this thing is also coming up. And I think they might meet each other around the golden pocket here at $404. I think $404 is where you should put your buy limit orders in if you are trying to get some relatively cheaper Tesla. But I think the overall trend for Tesla is for it to continue going up to higher prices here. And if it does go up to higher prices, we'll look at the 1272 fib extension to the upside at $517, and then the 1618 at $576. I think Tesla is going to be a $500 stock going into next year in 2026. All right. Let's move on to some other assets here. Got a quiet crowd today. I understand that, you know, it's kind of hard to watch the market go down and be excited about any of these cryptocurrencies here. Let's see what is in the green today. Silver's in the green. I don't know if that really helps my cryptocurrency guys out there. But you could play silver and gold. You can play gold. I know that. You can play gold as a cryptocurrency if you try out PAXG coin. Looks like PAXG is in an uptrend because it tracks the price of gold. And PAXG is currently at $4,224, up $10 today, up 0.26%. And if inflation is still an issue, then that probably means gold is going to probably continue going up in price, right? Because where else would you put your money? Gold is a inflation, an asset that tends to benefit with inflation going up. So you would expect the price of gold to continue going up here. And it looks like, you know, gold or PAXG here has climbed up to as high as like 4,798. Is that correct? Did we actually see gold go up to like $4,800? I don't think it actually did that. That might be a little bit of a fluke here on PCE. Let me see what the actual price of gold did here. Yeah, that's what I remember. Gold. I remember the price of gold being about $4,300 an ounce. But yeah, gold has been doing like a consolidation pattern here, and I believe it's going to continue going up to higher prices because it looks like it's already breaking out of the consolidation pattern to the upside here. And if gold continues to go up to higher prices, I have already measured this out, where we got a fib extension level to like 46.74 is where gold could go next for a new all-time high. And then we also got $5,000 gold as a possibility here with the 1618 Fibonacci extension to the upside at that price. Okay. That I would expect to happen in 2026. I don't think that's going to happen before the end of 2025 here, but maybe sometime in 2026 you might see $4,600 or $5,000 an ounce gold here, and you can play that for you cryptocurrency guys out there. You can play that by buying PCE. Is a cryptocurrency that is trying to track the price of gold right now. Okay, if I go back to MEXC, I could show you like you can actually trade on MEXC exchange here. You can trade PCE here. Let me just put that on. You can do MEXC perpetual futures here. There you go. I got PCE here, and I believe they also have it on spot. Let me just double check real quick here. I gotta go into the spot account. Actually, yeah, let's see. Actually, where's my spot? Yeah, there we go. All right. I don't want to do futures. I want to show spot. I usually don't trade spot on MEXC, so I gotta kind of dig for this stuff here. Yeah, it should be on the regular exchange, right? Well, anyways, I don't want to get too far into it, but you can trade PCE perpetual futures here, and the PCE coin should be up there. I just can't find it real quick here. Where's my spot? Why do I have to go in this account? Yeah, there it is. Okay, so PCE spot, right? You can trade PCE spot if you don't want to trade the actual futures of it. There we go. So if you're inclined to buy some PCE and track the price of gold using a cryptocurrency, you can do that here on MEXC exchange. All right. So this is going to be a relatively short live stream if I don't have any requests here. If you guys want to look at a specific stock or crypto, we can do that. Other than that, I got to wrap it up and do some other things here today. But let's see how the stock market's doing right now. Seems like the stock market is okay with the inflation report the way it is. We got the NASDAQ is at 23,500 points here, barely up for today. S&P 500 up slightly as well at 6,863, up 6 points today. And then we have the Dow Jones. Let's see. I want to get into the S&P 500 here, see what it looked like on the 1 hour time frame. So initially, this morning we saw the S&P 500 have a little spike up. I guess they did like the inflation report coming in as expected, but looks like we're selling off on the news now that it would have been better if the inflation report showed that inflation was slightly down rather than still being an issue here. Okay, the good bit of news is that we didn't actually see inflation increasing, so that's good to see, but that's not good enough for the stock market because the stock market wants to see inflation come down, so that way we can see interest rates come down as well. And the Federal Reserve, they are expected to cut interest rates next week. But if they see inflation coming down, then they're more likely to cut again going into like next month in January and the following months after that. So we want to see inflation come down, and that would give us more justification for lower interest rates, which would allow the stock market to go higher, as well as cryptocurrencies for those who are following cryptocurrencies here and investing in cryptocurrencies. You want to see inflation come down, and you want to see the jobs market actually continue to do all right, because even though jobs market has been coming down recently, you still need people to have jobs in order to buy crypto and buy stocks. So like that is an issue that the Federal Reserve is worried about. We did see in the jobs market. Let me go back into the Forex here. We saw it earlier this week. I believe it was on Wednesday, that the ADP report came in and it showed that we actually lost jobs here. Yeah, go ahead and apply that, please. Thank you. And ADP non-farm employment report showed that you actually lost 32,000 jobs. So that's an issue. That's a problem. That was what the cryptocurrency market and the stock market, they actually liked that number being negative, because it shows that the Federal Reserve needs to lower interest rates, and that's going to be a benefit to the stock market and cryptocurrency market. They were expecting 5,000 jobs, which was less than what we got back in November, when we had 47,000 jobs. Okay, so the jobs market is becoming an issue, and if it continues to be an issue, then the Federal Reserve will be forced to lower interest rates going into this month and next month and the following months, because they don't want people losing jobs either. Like they're trying to fight inflation, but they're also trying to keep the jobs market healthy and not actually losing jobs here. But let's see. What cryptocurrency is actually doing well today? Almost everything's in the red. This is Zcash. Zcash is in the green. All right. Let's take a look at Zcash. I have this on my watch list. We see Zcash is currently trading at $372. Let me get into the daily time frame. So Zcash was the talk of the town back here in like September and October, even going into like November. But in November, we kind of double topped here at like 754, and then here on around like 744 on November 15th. And when you see a double top, that usually means that you're probably going to be going down in price. You're going to get a reversal, okay? And that's exactly what happened here, because we started losing Zcash going down to lower prices here on November 21st. I think that was when Bitcoin hit $80,000 earlier in November. And then yeah, Zcash since then hasn't been able to recover, because you lost the 21 EMA moving average here. And since then, you've just been coming down. However, you do have support below you. You have the 50-day moving average, this green line, could act as support at 269. And I did have some people asking me about Zcash, like, Damien, how much lower could Zcash go? And, you know, just eyeballing the charts and looking at the moving averages, you would expect the 50-day moving average to act as support initially. But we actually came down and we front ran that. We didn't even actually come down to the 50-day moving average. Here on Tuesday, when Bitcoin started turning around and going up to higher prices again, we saw a reversal here on Zcash as well. And Zcash looks like it's trying to march its way back up to higher prices. We saw Zcash get as high as like 408. But I think, you know, if I pull the VRVP indicator, it's probably going to show you that there's an area here that why 408 is going to be a rejection zone. Let me go ahead and pull that indicator up here. The VRVP indicator is off on the right. This is the green and red indicator. You got the green and red bars. The green bar shows you who was buying, and the red shows you who was selling at specific price points here. And we can see that we do have a little bit of a volume node here at like 388. Not really 400 though. I'm not sure why we got rejected off 400. Maybe it might be a moving average that probably rejected us there on the smaller time frames here. But just looking at the VRVP indicator here, there is a value area low, this white line at 280 bucks. I was expecting Zcash, when it was dropping like a rock over the past week here, I was expecting Zcash to come down to this level here and maybe get a bounce off the $280, but we actually front ran it. We actually only got as low as about 305 before we caught that bounce here on Zcash. But if Bitcoin's going to go down, then I'm expecting Zcash to go down. So, you know, if we do go down the lower prices here, I would expect 280 to eventually get hit as a target. It's also kind of like where that 50-day moving average is. I'm expecting somewhere between 270 and 280 to be a good area to buy Zcash if you're interested in buying Zcash. Or if you're interested in taking a long, I would try to take a long here on Zcash at like 270 and 280. Somewhere in this target zone right here, where you got the value area low sitting right there. And then to the upside, if Zcash is able to catch bids, if you can get past, well, if we can stay above 360 here, you got a little bit of volume here at 386, but you actually got a significant amount of volume here at 450, 460. This is where I would expect Zcash to probably bump its head up against, maybe make a lower high. Hopefully, you're able to make a higher low and then push up to higher prices here, because we do have the POC above you. That point of control is sitting at about 498. 498 is where I would expect a lot of resistance for Zcash. Basically like $500, okay? Because you got some people here that were buying Zcash around like $500, thinking that they were catching the lows or catching a correction here, only for Zcash to then lose that $500 level, right? So I think once we come back up to $500, there's going to be a lot of people that want to probably get out of Zcash at 500 just to break even, if they're able to do so. Hello, good afternoon to you, Cameron. How you doing here? Bitcoin says that Zcash is looking bad, but not great. Yeah, Zcash. Lucky Inflate Best was asking about Ethereum. I actually looked at Ethereum. Well, I was talking about how I entered a Ethereum short earlier this morning and then got stopped out, only for it to then go back down again. But yeah, I guess we can take a look at Ethereum one more time here. Excuse me. But yeah, let's take a look at Ethereum since you asked for it. So I'll give you the bigger picture view here on Ethereum before I do a deep dive into the smaller time frames here. But on the daily time frame here, we see Ethereum is currently trading at $3,029, down 3% today. Just using the VRVP indicator here, you do have a lot of volume here for Ethereum at like $2,500. Basically, everybody that bought Ethereum back here in July and May, all throughout May, June, and July earlier this year, that's a good support zone for Ethereum. If Ethereum does come down to that price, I would expect the bleeding to stop for Ethereum at like $2,500. Okay. Some other notable areas to look for here is the 3,000 level. Okay, which we're currently at right now. This is a high volume node here on the VRVP indicator. Then you got 3370 to like 3470, a little bit of high volume there. And then of course you got some more volume here like 3580 to 3650. That is where the 200-day moving average is sitting at for Ethereum. To the upside, I would be thinking about putting in some taking profit on Ethereum at $3,500 here if it's able to climb back up to that area. And then of course, if Ethereum pushes past the 200-day moving average to the upside, then we do have a value area high sitting at 3880. and that's kind of like right where the 50-day and the 100-day moving average, is blue and green line. That's they're right next to each other at like 38.60, 38.69, somewhere around that area. Okay, and it also happens to be with the value area high. So I highly doubt Ethereum is going to go past $3,800 unless it gets a lot of bullish momentum and catalyst pushing up to higher prices here. I'm expecting $3,800 to be the ceiling for Ethereum in the near-term future here. Okay. Right now, we just got the the value area high. You get the value area low, and this is just all this area in between the value area high and value area low is just considered the value area. Once again, you got a high volume node here at $2,500, but then also if we lose $2,500, there is some more support here at $1,800 for Ethereum, where Ethereum actually bottomed out like back here in April and May at like $1,800. I would expect $1,800 Ethereum to be an even more significant support area. But if we do go down to that price, that's like almost like a 50% drop from where we are right now. If we are in a bear market, I would expect maybe $1,800 to be the bear market low for Ethereum if it does get down to that price. Okay, we shall see. We shall see. Right now, I'm expecting the next low to be formed somewhere near $2,500 on Ethereum if it does go down to that price. Okay, now let me get into the smaller time frames here. We'll look at the 4-hour time frame. You can see here on the 4-hour time frame. Right, let me get rid of the VRVP indicator for now. Ethereum has hit the 200 moving average, right, on the 4-hour time frame. We haven't actually hit the 200 moving average, that red line, since back here in October 27th. So the downtrend is still intact, it seems, and we are getting a rejection off of the 200 moving average on the 4-hour time frame. Okay. If we were bullish, we would have pushed past through this 200 moving average like it was nothing, but you can see that this 200 moving average was acting as resistance. It was acting as resistance over the last couple of days here, and now we're losing it. And how much lower could we go? Well, I already gave you targets. We have a target of $2,500 as a long-term target to the downside. But it looks like Ethereum could try to put up a little bit of a fight here at this 50 moving average at 29.49. So even though it might make sense to short Ethereum, you might only be able to take it down to 29.40 before the bulls start trying to make a case for this thing to go up to higher prices again. Okay. So that is an area that I'm looking for. Now let's get into the oscillators here, see what the oscillators are doing. On the MACD, on the 4-hour time frame, buying pressure has been dying down, and you're seeing selling pressure starting to show up here. I think if you're already in a short on Ethereum, you can stay in that short until you start seeing the selling pressure dying down, like we did saw that happening here on Monday. All right, but right now you could be comfortable in your short. You also have the MACD cross here. At least the blue line crossing the orange line to the downside, showing that, yeah. And this happened like early this morning, probably while you guys were sleeping or just waking up. But we had that MACD cross here, and that's showing that there could be some more selling pressure to the downside here on Ethereum, unfortunately. Let's see, is it similar like that on the 1-hour time frame? Let me go into the 1-hour time frame. The 1-hour time frame, you already had selling pressure showing up here, and you had that cross to the downside Wednesday night, and all throughout Thursday you've been selling off here on Ethereum. And then once again, the blue line was trying to climb back up earlier this morning, but then it wasn't able to. It got rejected off the orange line, and we came back down here on the 1-hour time frame. So I'm a little bit mad. I got stopped out of my short on Ethereum just a little bit. Okay, because had I not get stopped out, maybe if my stop loss was a little bit looser, I would still be in the trade, and I could be enjoying, Ethereum going down to low prices and benefiting with my short on Ethereum. All right, but yeah, here on the 1-hour time frame market cipher B indicator, money flow is in the red right now. And momentum's to the downside. We're kind of getting near oversold conditions here on Ethereum on the 1 hour time frame, according to Market Cipher B. So maybe there might be a little bit of a bounce back this afternoon. I wouldn't hold my breath, okay? But you are getting close to oversold here. And if you see a green buy dot showing up here on the 1 hour time frame on Market Cipher B, then maybe you might see a few more good hours ahead of you where we might get a bounce back on Ethereum here, okay? And then let's see here on the RSI indicator. You are oversold here on the 1 hour time frame on Ethereum. Not as oversold as you were back here on Monday. That was definitely a really bad day on Monday where we saw RSI as low as like 17. But, you know, anything lower than 30 on the RSI is considered oversold, and right now you are oversold on the RSI indicator here. So I wouldn't really be looking for a short right now, because you might be getting a bounce back here on Ethereum. You might. And let's see. Let's look at the chart now here on the 1 hour time frame. The moving averages are acting on the 1 hour time frame. The 200 and the 100 are acting as support. You can see that we have some candle wicks to the downside, but we're staying above the moving averages. So if you're trying to look for a scalp, I would probably be looking for like a scalp long on Ethereum. See if maybe this thing can revert back to, I mean, this is a really big fair value gap to the downside. You would expect maybe a retracement back halfway to like 3,060 or 3,070 on Ethereum before maybe then Ethereum goes down to lower prices here. Just getting into the smaller time frames here. I think that's as small as I'll go here for Ethereum on the 1 hour time frame. I could go lower to like 15 or 5 minute time frame, but yeah, I think 1 hour is good enough. LLB says, look at the Vumachi indicator. I don't know what that is. I don't really use indicators that I'm not familiar with. I know there's some indicators out there, like the, you know, like the Vumachi, and then there's what, the Ichimoku cloud, or what, I can't know how to pronounce that thing, but there's like a cloud indicator that I could use. And if I don't use it on a daily, regular basis, then I'm probably not going to be using it on my live streams here. Okay, but yeah, there's like, let me see, you typed in Vumachi. I'm just curious, because you told me to look at it. I'll see if I can find it. Is that how you spell it? Vumachi? V-U-M-A-C-H? I can't even, it's not showing up here on TradingView. Yeah, I never heard of it myself. I know there's like there's a cloud indicator that I usually don't really use that much. The Ichimoku cloud, is that what you're trying to talk about? The Ichimoku? Is this what you're talking about? Let me just get rid of the movement averages here. But there's a cloud indicator here that I don't really use this indicator either, but I know some people do. I kind of get the gist of it a little bit, but yeah, if it's an indicator that I don't really use, I'm probably not going to use it, because there's no point in me talking about it or teaching it if I don't know how to use it as good as other people might. So yeah, there's other indicators out there that you can use to like figure out what you're gonna do for your trades here. But I usually stick to the moving averages, and I stick to the VRVP indicator here. And then my other favorite indicators are the MACD, which a lot of traders and investors use. The Market Cipher B indicator is a great indicator that I see some traders using. And then the RSI is an indicator that I think every trader and investor needs to be using to help you figure out the bullish and bearish divergence that might be out there. But yeah, those are the indicators that I usually stick to. Calvin Hill's in the TikTok live here. Cameron, you got any requests out there? Any coins you want to take a look at? If not, this is going to be a short live stream. Because I do have some things I need to do today. I got to go to Home Depot and grab some stuff for my house. So, yeah, I got things I need to do. If I am inclined to do a scalp trade this afternoon, I would try to look for a long here. I would look for a long on Ethereum. Here on Bitcoin, I just don't know. I mean, I do already have a long setup where I'm trying to get filled at $87,400 here on Bitcoin. If Bitcoin does decide to go to lower prices here. I don't know if that's actually going to get filled this afternoon, but it is an area that I've been looking at for a long, mainly because this is kind of like where we gapped out from back here on Tuesday. You got some balance here at that area, but let me show you in the daily time frame. On the daily time frame, if I pull up the VRVP indicator here, you can see there's some high volume here at $87,000, $86,000. Okay. I think this is where I could get filled. Hopefully we don't go any lower than $87,000. I usually keep my stop losses tight, so I have it set at 87,400. I'll get stopped out at 87 grand, but you know, if we do come down here, I'm expecting a fight at 86, 87 grand from the longs, from the bulls, to push the price back up. And that's mainly just using the VRVP indicator here. I'm expecting some support for Bitcoin between 86 and 87K. Okay. I'll see if I get filled on that long. I think right now we are oversold this afternoon here on Bitcoin. Let's see. Let me just see. On the 1 hour time frame. Yeah, you're at 29 on the RSI. And you're at 22 about a couple hours ago. I think we might have seen the lows for today, for now. And I think Bitcoin might, you know, the bulls are going to step in and try to push the price up a little bit higher this afternoon. And then here on the 1 hour time frame, we did get a green buy dot. Okay, so we could get a couple of good hours here for Bitcoin where we might see the price start climbing back up as the bulls and the longs try to take advantage of lower prices. If they're still bullish here on Bitcoin, this might have been the low for today. So they might be stepping in to try and buy some Bitcoin here. Let's get into the 15-minute time frame here. 15-minute time frame. This is good to see here with Bitcoin. You are making higher lows here on the momentum, and you got a couple of green buy dots here. And these green buy dots, they came in near the oversold area on Market Cipher B, so that's good to see. I would expect, you know, Bitcoin to start climbing up to higher prices. Maybe I should get into a Bitcoin long since I'm talking about it right now. Maybe I could do a scalp long here. But if I am going to do a scalp long, I got to figure out what's my take profit going to be. So yeah, here on the 50-minute time frame, selling pressure is dying down here on Bitcoin. I think I'll keep the VRVP indicator here. I could probably push my long up to like 92,400. Or somewhere near this VRVP indicator. This point of control is sitting at like 92,500. Yeah. Maybe the bleeding might be coming to an end here for Bitcoin. Let's see, on the 1 hour time frame, you got some moving averages above you at like 90,900, 90,500. So maybe I could take partial profit at 90,500 and then take the rest of the profit at 92K. Right? Yeah. Let's get back in the 15-minute time frame. Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know if we're actually gonna go back up to 92K later on today. I think maybe 91K might be more likely. So let me try to enter a long here. I'll do a kind of like a small scalp long. We'll put the stop loss below the low for today at 88,000. Wow, 88,099. Do I really want to do that low of a stop loss? I guess I'm going to do low leverage on this one. So we'll see if I can sell at 90,500 and then sell some more at like 92,000 for take profit here. Let's do it. We're gonna go into a Bitcoin long. I might want to do like 20x leverage on this one. And okay. Is that good enough margin? I think that's good enough margin there. And then I'm looking to enter in now. I'm going to try to take profit at, what do we say, 91,500 was the ultimate take profit. I'll make $67 on this long, $68, and then the stop loss is going to be 88K. I don't like that. I'll end up losing 45 bucks on that stop loss. I like my stop losses to be like $20, so I might have to do a 10x leverage instead. So with 10x leverage on this scalp long on Bitcoin, I'll lose about $22 if we actually go back to 88K. And I'll make about $33 if we actually go up to like 91K. I don't know. I don't really like that, to be honest with you guys. It's not a good risk-reward ratio. And of course, as I'm talking about this, the price keeps climbing back up. Let's just measure out the risk-reward ratio real quick here. Taking it down to like 88K. You're risking about 1.7% from where we are right now. And then trying to get up to like 91.5. You're risking 1.7% to try and get 2.2%. The risk reward ratio is 1.3. It's garbage. I like 3-to-1 risk reward ratios. I like at the very least a 2-to-1 risk reward ratio, but a 1-to-3 is just not good. Not good. There might be another coin. Maybe I could probably get into an old coin that got beaten down. That might recover with Bitcoin here. Let's look at Solana maybe. Let's see. We got the value area low at 138. I think Solana might be a better risk reward ratio. Let's try this. So we'll put the stop loss on Solana below the lows for today at 131. And we'll try to target the value area low at 138. Look at that. It's a better risk reward ratio. 3.94 right there. Hey, Hulk Smash. I'm like analyzing a potential long here. A scalp long this afternoon. And right now, Bitcoin doesn't look like it has a good risk reward ratio, but I like Solana right now where it's at. If we're going to climb up later on this afternoon, if we just put in the lows for today and Solana can climb back up to $138, I like that risk reward ratio on Solana. Let's try to get back into MEXC here, and we'll look at Solana for a potential long here. I think I don't want to do 40x. We'll do 20x leverage. We'll see what that gets me. I can always change the leverage later. About like that much for margin. Sure. Take profit. We said $138 on Solana will give me about $122 in profit, and $131 is I'll lose $44 on the stop loss if I use that leverage. So I don't want to lose more than 20 bucks on my stop losses. So I'm gonna knock the leverage down to 10x here. And with 10x, I'll lose 10x leverage on Solana. I'll lose about $19 here. And I'll make 62 bucks. That's fine with me. And I could wait a little bit to see if the price will come down a little bit. Nah, screw it. I'll just enter it right now. Alright. I am now in a 10x long on Solana. Got in at $132.73. Stop loss is at 131 bucks here. Take profits at 138. This is what it'll look like. I'll make $62 if we go up to 138 bucks. I'll lose $20 if we go down to $131. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. And this does tell you liquidation price if, you know, for some reason you want to stay in the trade longer and you want to move your stop loss. I would get liquidated at 119 bucks here. That's the estimated liquidation price there for this trade that I'm in, this 10x long on Solana. So there you go. I just took a scalp long. Keep my fingers crossed. Hopefully we get a little bit of a bounce back from what I've read on the charts here. I think Bitcoin, let's go back to Bitcoin now. I think Bitcoin wants to climb back up. We shall see. We shall see, but I'm looking at the 15-minute time frame, looking at the MACD. I see selling pressure is dying down. Now, it doesn't mean that it can't start increasing again. We could see, you know, what we saw a couple hours ago where selling pressure died down, then it started increasing, then it died down again. Got a little bit of buying pressure here. Buying pressure from the PCE report, only for us to then get sent back down again. So I don't know. But what I would like to see is, like, I see this right here in the 15-minute time frame. We got the blue line about to cross the orange line, so that's going to justify me going long here on hopefully Solana. Let's see, is Solana doing the same thing on the MACD? Because right now we're looking at Bitcoin. Let's get into Solana here. So selling pressure is dying down on the 15-minute time frame for Solana. I do like momentum trades. I do like trying to buy the low, or the, you know, whatever higher low there might be, and then try to push the price up. Have basically the market do all the work for me, where it pushes us up to higher prices here. So I like that, but I'm worried that, you know, we could see selling pressure start increasing again. And that's why my stop loss is tight. Like, my stop loss is at 131 bucks. If these are not the lows for today, then, you know, I'll get stopped out at 131 bucks on Solana, and we'll just have to figure out how much lower it's going to go if 131 is not the low. But other things that kind of make me feel better about getting in this long on Solana is we do have a green buy out here in the 15-minute time frame. And it's in the oversold territory. And let's see, is it also like that on the 1 hour time frame? Yeah, we got a green buy dot here on the 1 hour time frame, and it's below these oversold horizontal bars here, these green bars. So this is saying that you should think about buying Solana. Okay. Now, you know, you had these green dots earlier this morning, followed by red dots. So we just don't know. Like, it could be a red dot showing up next hour or two, but this is really an oversold territory here, and I think this might have been the lows for today. Doesn't mean that we can't go lower tomorrow, but for today, all I'm trying to do is get a scalp long, hopefully make some money back, because I got stopped out on my short on Ethereum earlier. Which sucked. It sucks when you get stopped out and then it goes in the direction that you thought it was gonna go, and you miss out. You miss out. You don't make the money that you thought you're gonna make, and the market does what you were planning on it doing. I hate that feeling, but it's part of trading. All right, Cameron says Bitfarm. And then Shafi wants to look at Zcash and Uniswap. We actually looked at Zcash earlier than the live stream. I'll give you like a quick synopsis of what I saw, and then we'll look at Uniswap. And then Cameron, is that a request for Bitfarm, or do you want me to look at Bank of America? Let's quickly look at Zcash real quick, and then we're gonna look at Uniswap. Alright, so back in the daily time frame here for Zcash, using the VRVP indicator here for my levels. If Zcash is gonna go down to lower prices here, I would expect a good area to start buying Zcash and maybe get a bounce is where this value area low is at 274, and then you got the 50-day moving average at 269. I would try to put in some buy orders in there. Okay. However, we do have a good amount of volume here at like 320 to like 360. That we should already be at the support for Zcash, but you know, if it goes a little bit lower, I think yeah, you could see 270 bucks here for Zcash. And to the upside, you got some targets here to the upside at 461, but your swing trade or day trade leverage long take profit should be somewhere near 500 bucks here for Zcash. I don't know if we're ever going to go back to 700 bucks, but I would expect a lot of resistance here at $500 because the people who bought Zcash over the last couple of weeks at like $500, they thought they were getting a deal and a discount on Zcash, only for it to go below 500 bucks. They might want to just get out of Zcash and just break even at 500. So there you go. That's your upside target for Zcash as of now. All right, let's look at the Uniswap real quick. Uniswap. Let me get rid of the VRVP indicator. We can always pull that up later. Uniswap. What are you doing, Uniswap? Basically, you're doing a round trip from what you were at back here in April. We're at the same prices that we saw back in April 2025 here. Okay. You're also below the 200-day moving average. You're below all the moving averages on the daily time frame for Uniswap. If Uniswap starts catching some bids here, I would expect first rejection to happen at that 21 EMA at 639. Then I would expect another rejection here at the 50-day moving average at 749. This green line right here, okay? However, it looks like most likely target where you'll definitely get rejected is going to be this 0.236 retracement at $8.20, which is right in between the 200-day and the 100-day. So, yeah, once you start getting up to like $7.90, up to like $8.30, you should be clicking that sell button. Not financial advice, but you should be strongly considering clicking that sell button, because I just don't know if Uniswap is actually going to go higher than that. If it does, and then we do have other levels to look for. We got the 0.382 at 1035. But yeah, those are your targets there, using the moving averages and the Fibonacci here. Now let me just throw on the VRVP indicator, see if the VRVP indicator has anything to say about what I just said there. And the VRVP indicator showing your strongest volume node is sitting at 633, which is right where that 21 EMA is at. So I already said that 21 EMA at 630, you know, $6.33 here, $6.39, somewhere around that area should be where you should take profit if you're short-term swing trading or day trading it. But if you're in it for a longer swing trade, I mean, we do have volume here at 748, which is right where that 50-day moving average is. So even the VRVP indicator kind of agrees with the moving averages here. You know, if you don't have the VRVP indicator, you're not able to set it up the way I have it, you can just use the moving averages, right? Just use your 21 EMA as your take profit target, and then the 50 moving average as your next take profit target too on Uniswap. That's how I would do it. I see Idrius is in the TikTok live chat, live stream here. What do I think about going long on World Liberty 5x long? Is it good? That is your request. And then Cameron wants to look at Bitfarm stock. Okay, so let me look at Bitfarm for Cameron, and then I'll come back to looking at World Liberty Finance here, okay? Because Cameron did make that request first. I just had to ask him if it was like a stock or a crypto. All right, but yeah, let's take a look at Bitfarm. So this is a cryptocurrency stock that you can get on the Nasdaq. It's trading on the Nasdaq exchange, and this thing is trading at $2.93, down 5.6% today. Cameron, just out of curiosity, how does Bitfarm make their money? Are they buying and selling Bitcoin and Ethereum? All right, let's see. It says Bitfarm engages in the business of mining cryptocurrency. They don't say what specific cryptocurrency they're mining, but they are a Bitcoin. They are a cryptocurrency miner. I'm assuming they're probably just a Bitcoin miner. Kind of similar to like Hut 8 and what else? Marathon, CleanSpark. Those are some other Bitcoin miners out there. But I have looked at this the stock prior. Looks like we topped out here on October at $6.60. That's where I drew the Fibonacci from, and we had a nice September here for the stock. We were as low as like $1.27 back here in September. But just zooming out, like, I don't know, these Bitcoin miners, like, yeah, back in 2021 was a good year for the Bitcoin miners as well, but then they go through a bear market, and when they go through the bear market, like in 2022 and 2023, they don't get back up to like where they were, you know, in years prior during the bull run, the last bull run, right, in 2021. So it's almost as if like you're better off being in Bitcoin and not even being in a Bitcoin miner, because this thing is not back to the same price that it was back in 2021. I can tell you that. But anyways, let's get into the analysis here. On Bitfarm, you drop down obviously from the highs here in October, and that makes sense because Bitcoin was at $126,000 in October, and now it's what, at 88K. So it took a beating after that, and you came right down to this 50-day moving average, acting as support, this green line here. All right, now the 50-day moving average is sitting at 263. That could be where you could get some cheaper Bitfarms if you want to buy some more. That's also confluent with the 0.236 retracement at 250. So I think 250, 260 should be a good area to buy Bitfarms if you want to add to your position here on Bitfarms. Then you would expect, you know, Bitfarms to climb up to higher prices. If it does, and if Bitcoin does go to higher prices, then I would expect at least a 618 retracement where this thing could climb up to like 456 or 473, somewhere in that area, this golden pocket area. Okay. Well, let me pull the VRVP, see what the VRVP has to say about these areas as well. You got a value area high sitting at 398. Confluent with the 0.5 retracement, so maybe the golden pocket might be out of reach. Maybe we actually come up to 0.5 retracement, get rejected here at 398, $4 before we come back down again on Bitfarms. And you got a point of control at $1.23 here. This would be probably where we might see a bear market low for Bitfarm. If Bitcoin goes low prices, I would expect $1.23 to show up again here on the price for Bitfarm. And let's see, Bitfarm did have an earnings report. You had an earnings report here on November. They were expecting. See this? This is crazy. Like, they're a Bitcoin miner and they're expecting to lose money when Bitcoin is at all-time highs. Like, that's why I can't be in a Bitcoin miner. Right? How are you expecting to lose money when the thing that you sell, which is Bitcoin, is at all-time highs? I'd rather be in Bitcoin than being in a Bitcoin miner. That's just my opinion. But they're expected to lose 2 cents per share, and they actually reported losing 8 cents per share. Very negative, nasty, 200% surprise to the downside. And they were expected to make $87 million in revenue. They only made $69 million in revenue. Garbage. Garbage. Alright. Cameron said that Bitfarm has made you great money. Well, yeah, if you caught the lows, you know, the bear market lows. I mean, this thing was trading at about $1.20, $1.30 just a few months ago, and now it's at $2.93. So yeah, I mean, it already made you some money now, but the way things are going right here, it might actually drop on you. All right, yeah, okay, thank you. Let me get rid of the BRVP indicator. I mean, what the bear market lows for Bitfarms was like back here in the end of 2022 when this thing was trading at 37 cents. So if you got in at 37 cents, then yeah, I mean, you're doing all right still on Bitfarm. But I mean, Cameron, answer me this, right? How are they losing money when Bitcoin is at all-time highs? Like, I don't want to do a deep fundamental analysis, but they had a bad earnings report on November of this year. They had another bad earnings report in August of this year. They had another bad earnings report in May of this year. The last time they had a good earnings report was in March. They've been losing money while Bitcoin's been going to all-time highs. I just, whatever they're doing is makes me scratch my head, to be honest. But let's look at some other assets here. You can tell me in the chat why they're having bad earnings reports while Bitcoin's at all-time highs. But let's move on to we gotta look at World Liberty Finance here for Idris. And Idrias's question was, should you do a 5x long on World Liberty Finance? I'm going to get rid of this Fibonacci for now. World Liberty Finance is, I don't really have that much data. This is data coming off of Binance Exchange, which is usually one of the first cryptocurrency exchanges to list a new cryptocurrency. Looks like World Liberty Finance started trading in August. I don't have that many moving averages on the daily time frame to work with, except for like the 21 EMA, this white line. Right now, World Liberty Finance does look like it has been making some higher lows. So I like the market structure, just looking at the market structure. However, I'm a little bit worried, you know, is this a bear flag? I don't know if this is going to be a bear flag. You are making higher lows and also higher highs over the last few weeks here. I want to be bullish. It's good to see that you're near the 21 EMA. You could be buying on a red day like we're having today, and then maybe benefit with this thing going up to higher prices and make another higher high. But let's see. Right now, let me just draw this out here. I'm gonna give you like kind of like what the bears are gonna tell you. The bears are gonna say that this is a bear flag, right? And they're just saying that you're creating like a bear flag, and then you're gonna end up coming back down to lower prices at some point, right? So you got your bear flag here, okay? Roughly, kind of, sort of. I don't know. Maybe I should probably draw it from those touch points there, something like that, okay? But yeah, you got possibly a bear flag, and if this is a bear flag, and we break out from where we are right now, oh my God, how much lower could you go? If this is a bear flag, the bears are going to say that this thing could go down to 2 cents on you, okay? That's the bearish case, right? With you buying right now, that's not bad. I would probably put the stop loss tight. And you're doing a leverage long, so you probably do want to keep your stop loss relatively tight. You can put your stop loss below the low here. on Monday where we got as low as like 14 cents. So let's game plan that out. If we were to do a long position here right now and put the stop loss below the low from Monday at 14 cents roughly. Well, it says 0.1417 pennies here. You're risking 5.4% to the downside. And then how far are you going to take it up to? I mean, what is your take profit? Maybe I would target like somewhere in this area where you got some sideways trading going on here in September. And maybe target like 19 or 20 cents. So I'm going to try to put that there for like 19, 20 cents. We'll say 20 cents right now. And you're risking 5% to try and get 34%. That doesn't seem like a bad risk-reward ratio. That's actually a really good risk-reward ratio there, Idris. Okay? Your 6.39 is anything 3 and above on the risk-reward ratio is a good trade to take. So I think it's worth taking along. Now you said you're going to do 5x leverage. So 5x leverage, you got to multiply the stop loss, right? This percent, you could lose 5% if you're not doing leverage, but with leverage at 5x, you got to multiply that by 5. So that ends up being like 25% to the downside is what you could lose on your trade. And then to the upside, if you do go up to like 20 pennies, you know, you do 334% multiplied by 5, I think that's like 170%. So you'll end up more than doubling your money if you do get up to like 20 cents. But, you know, with trades, we just don't know how they're going to play out. We don't even know if we actually can get up to like 20 cents. I would probably take partial profit probably near the highs of this last candle wick here on Wednesday, November 26th, where you got up to like 17.173 pennies. So maybe put your first take profit at 17 pennies. And if I measure that out real quick here, let's see. I'll do another long position here. But if you take this down to like 17 pennies on your first take profit, you'll get like 13% with 5x leverage. That's about like 65%. Not bad. And then of course we gotta make sure that the stop loss is relatively tight here. So risking 5% to try and get 13%. That's a risk-reward ratio of 2.5. I think some traders would take that. It's not the 3.0 risk-reward ratio that we would like to see, but you can still make money, right? I know some traders that would take a 2.5 risk-reward ratio. And let's see, 17 pennies, I believe, is also kind of confluent with this 50-day moving average. You see this green line right here? Barely. But this green line is starting to show up, and that's your 50-day moving average at 0.173 pennies. So I would take partial profit at 17 pennies, and I would take the second take profit at 20 pennies. And I think it's worth taking. Not financial advice. Don't sue me, bro, if it doesn't work out for you. Let's see. Hulk Smash is in the chat talking about Bitcoin mining here or cryptocurrency mining. He says mining is a tough business due to energy costs and the rigs constantly advance and equipment becomes obsolete. Yeah, Hulk Smash, I know exactly what you're talking about. I had a buddy of mine who's been in Bitcoin and crypto probably just as long, if not maybe longer than me. And he was mining Bitcoin and Ethereum. Or I shouldn't say, I don't think he was mining Bitcoin, but he was mining Ethereum back in 2017 when Ethereum was still proof of work before they became proof of stake. And he told me, like, he said, Damien, to be honest with you, like, because I was like, oh man, you're mining Ethereum, that's pretty cool. And now Ethereum's at like $1,400. Seems like a lot good money to be making, right? Per coin. And he said, yeah, Damien, you know, to be honest with you, with the amount of money that I spent on the machines and the computers, and then the money that I spent on electricity, he said he might have been better off just buying Ethereum on a cryptocurrency exchange with the amount of money that he spent on his mining equipment. and he still would have benefited with Ethereum going up to like 1,300-1,400 bucks at the time. So, you know, that's actually an advertisement to these cryptocurrency exchanges. Like, you have the benefit of making money without losing too much money in capital costs of like buying a cryptocurrency miner, right? You don't have to do that. You can make money just by buying low and selling high on these cryptocurrency exchanges. So, like, I had a buddy of mine. He was a cryptocurrency miner. He was mining Ethereum, and I think he did like other coins as well, like buying like Bitcoin Cash and whatever made sense at the time. I think he might have mined Litecoin as well. But he had like a whole rig, and I have another buddy of mine that has rigs as well. So I got friends of mine that do mine cryptocurrencies, and they all keep saying like, I should have just bought it on a cryptocurrency exchange with the amount of money that I spent on the computers and electricity. Should have just bought the actual cryptocurrency itself, not spend money to make money, and then sell it, you know, in the future at a later date. Anyways, let's see what you guys are saying here. Idris, you're now asking about shorting World Liberty Finance? Well, you got to figure out what is your bias here, okay? Because you can't just go long. I mean, you could go long and short, and that would make sense if you're range bound and you're not sure if it is going to go up or down. But usually in a range, right? If you're range, like in this, let's say this is a bear flag. I would actually go long here because you are making higher lows here. If we continue doing what we're doing on the trend here, you are making higher lows here. I don't know if you short right now, you might get immediately stopped out, right? You might not actually see the short play out. If this price was to break down to lower prices here, and you go lower than the lows here on Monday, then maybe, you know, maybe it is better to be shorting World Liberty Finance. But I would actually be looking for shorts when we get to the top of the flag. If this is the top of this, if this is a bear flag, like a long-term bear flag on World Liberty Finance, I'd be looking for shorts over here. I wouldn't really be looking for shorts over here. And then you got to worry about if this thing does break down, right? You could get a fake out, right? You could, like, you know, start breaking down, and then come back up for whatever reason. And now you'll either get stopped out at break even, or you might even get a loss on your short. And this thing could just continue going up to higher prices after that. So what would be better, in my opinion, right, is for you to take a short. If you're not sure about shorting World Liberty Finance, I would wait until you get to the top here. Okay, because if the price does go up to higher prices, then you'll immediately get stopped out. You know, if you keep your stop loss tight. However, right, if you take a short here towards the top of the bear flag, and we stop going down to the bottom, you're making money in that short while it's dropping down to the bottom of the bear flag. And then maybe you could take a little bit of profit here. However, if this thing, you know, kind of like bounces up and then goes down, you shorted right here. You did not short here. You shorted here. You made a little bit of money. Yeah, it came back up. Did maybe like a little bit of a fake out, and then it breaks down to the downside. You're still making money on that short if you stayed in it. Okay, so I would be trying to short the top of the bear flag if this is a bear flag. I don't even know if it is a bear flag, but I know some bears would call this a bear flag. But I would be trying to short the top of the bear flag, and I would be long in the bottom of the bear flag. All right, because you can make money longing, and then flip the long into a short, and then make money shorting it back down to the bottom of the bear flag again. All right, and then see if this thing does break down to the downside and stay in that short. Just an idea. That's how I would try to play that if you're trying to play World Liberty Finance here. But Idris, I see you. You always talk about World Liberty Finance, and you're in. You keep asking me about World Liberty Finance. I feel as though the more you look at the chart and become familiar with it, you'll get an idea as like how this thing is going to move. A lot better than probably me, especially if you're looking at it every day. If this ends up being the asset that you want to trade, then you could become a World Liberty Finance expert yourself. But yeah, I would try to short the top of the bear flag. I wouldn't be shorting the bottom. Not until you get a breakout, but then even then I would have to see a break past that last candle wick low here on Monday before I would really be convinced that we're about to go to lower prices here. You think it's gonna go up? Yeah, I think it's gonna go up as well. Just looking at the chart here for World Liberty Finance. Cameron's asking me to check the stochastic RSI. You want me to check the stochastic RSI on what asset there, Cameron? And I know you asked me about another one. You asked me about Bank of America. Did you still want me to look at Bank of America? You want me to look at the stochastic RSI on World Liberty Finance? Okay, we'll take a look at that. I gotta put that as an. I used to look at the stochastic RSI, but I stopped looking at stochastic RSI because, you know, I can only have so many indicators on my chart before it ends up being too cluttered. But let's go ahead and put that stochastic RSI. Here we go. This is a stochastic RSI on the daily time frame. I'm just going to get rid of these other indicators here. Always add them back in again. But here's the stochastic RSI. On the daily time frame, stochastic RSI, the blue and orange line, well, you're near the bottom here, okay? And you were making higher lows, and the higher lows kind of correspond to what you were making here on the price, where you're making higher lows as well on the price. However, this kind of made a lower low. So you kind of got a lower low going on here on the stochastic RSI. However, you are making higher lows on price here. That could be hidden bullish divergence just on the stochastic RSI. So maybe, I think what Cameron's trying to point out and show here is that you're probably better off being bullish here on World Liberty Finance. So is that what you're trying to imply here, Cameron? You want me to take a look at the stochastic RSI on the 15-minute time frame? Well, I'm looking at the daily time frame here, and it looks like this is hidden bullish divergence for World Liberty Finance. But let's look at the 15-minute time frame since you said it. All right, so the 50-minute time frame, it bounces up and down, up and down, up and down. But right now, you're near the lows on the stochastic RSI. And not only that, not only near the lows, but you're kind of making higher lows here. So you're making higher lows here while also making lower lows on the 50-minute time frame. So I still see bullish divergence based off of the stochastic RSI and the price chart for World Liberty Finance. So I think Cameron is trying to hint that you should probably be bullish and looking for a long here on World Liberty Finance. I would be looking for a long, not a short. Because in order for me to actually justify going to a short, I gotta see this thing go past the lows here on Monday at like 14 cents. And this is where I would put a stop loss on my long. Okay, so if I get stopped out, you know, obviously, you know, this thing wants to go to lower prices because you're going lower than what you did here on Monday, and you might be wrong about this thing going to higher prices here. But I think World Liberty Finance looks like a long. You should be in the long, in my opinion here. But Cameron says that anything that's related to Trump, you should stay away from it. That's funny. Alright. Cameron, did you still want to look at Bank of America? We'll take a look at that as like another request, and I'm probably going to end the live stream here soon. Surprisingly, I was able to do a 2-hour live stream, but it was looking like no one wanted to actually look at any of these cryptocurrencies because I wasn't getting any requests at the beginning of the live stream. But I appreciate you guys showing up here and asking me about some cryptos and stocks, because if not, then like, you know, I can talk about what I want to look at and talk about, but if I'm not getting any interaction, then it kind of sucks to just be like talking to yourself on the live stream. Here we go. We're looking at Bank of America, currently trading at $54. What? Bank of America is like near the highs for the year. We haven't seen Bank of America this high since about a couple of weeks ago. Bank of America looks like it got up to like $54.69 in November. Is this the highest price? Like, is Bank of America at all-time highs? Let's look at the monthly chart here. What? Crazy. Wow, Bank of America is almost as high as where it was back during the financial crisis in like 2007, 2008. We saw like Bank of America at $54 back in 2006. Towards the end of 2006 here, before it had that nasty drop during the banking crisis, the Great Recession, I guess is what they would call it, right? So does that mean like we might be due for something like that again here? Are we gonna basically make a double top? But yeah, Bank of America hasn't been this high for a while, since like 2007. Okay. Been bullish all year long. Let's go into back into the daily time frame here. Been bullish all year long. I mean, we had the lows. Looks like the lows came in like October of 2023. This thing was trading at $24. All right. And then we had like a little bit of a crisis here in April earlier this year. That was because of tariffs, right? We weren't sure if Trump's tariffs were gonna paralyze the economy here. But then he did a pause on tariffs, and that sent the stock back up again. Looks like the lows for the year came in around April at $33 here for Bank of America. And since then, we're making higher lows, higher highs, and you're above the 200, the 100, and the 50, and you're above the 21 EMA. So Bank of America is extremely bullish, right? But is it getting too far ahead of itself? Let's take a look at the oscillators here. Stochastic RSI is high, okay? But I want to look at my oscillators that I usually look at. So let me go here and put on my normal oscillators here. Okay, here we go. RSI, the regular RSI is not even overbought. It's at 61. So Bank of America could go to higher prices and still not be overbought on the daily time frame here. Looking at market cipher B. I like this higher low action going on with the market cipher B. You got a low, then a higher low. Let's continue doing that to higher prices here. Money flow is in the green, and momentum is going to the upside here. So Bank of America might have a few more good days and a few more good weeks ahead of itself to go to higher prices here. And I mean, this is just by the book, you know, just making higher lows, higher lows. You get selling pressure, buying pressure, selling pressure, buying pressure on the MACD. Right now you have buying pressure, so maybe you should be thinking about taking profit on Bank of America, especially if you're near all-time highs, near highs, multi-year highs for Bank of America. You might want to take some profit because you just don't know what kind of bad news could come out to send the stock to lower prices. But if it does go to lower prices, I mean, it would just be another buying opportunity, kind of like back here in November and in October here. If you can identify a higher low, I would just take a shot at buying some more Bank of America. Right now I wouldn't because you're near the highs, but I would try to buy some more probably when you come close to the 50-day moving average, you really don't really go down to the 50-day moving average. You kind of come close to it, like you see here in August. You came close to it, but not really. Come close to it here in October, but not really. And then come close to it here in November. So if you see this thing drop down and get close to that 50-day moving average, just know that the way this thing's been trading, it gets front run before it even hits that green line. It gets front run before you hit the 50-day moving average. So I would try to buy some Bank of America when it gets down to like maybe like 51 or 52 bucks, and try to do that before it hits the 50-day moving average, because that seems like what traders have been doing. They've just been front running it every time. It never actually hits the 50-day moving average. Hulk Smash says in the chat here, you said it also gets taxed. You're talking about the Bitcoin mining, but you're saying Bitcoin mining also gets taxed as property, meaning if you mine a Bitcoin block worth $280,000, you owe tax on it right away, even if you don't sell it. Oh wow, that sucks. They tax you even before you sell it. That's because they treat it as you acquired it at that price, or whatever. When it actually gets into your account, that's probably when they count that as a transaction, huh? Damn, that sucks. And then if the price goes up between mining and selling it, they'll hit you with capital gains on the difference. Oh man, that also sucks. Sounds like you should be Bitcoin mining outside of America. Go somewhere where you can mine Bitcoin and not get taxed on it. Cameron says you bought Bank of America at $12. That's good. Crypto Nero wants to look at Ethereum. We looked at Ethereum twice already. I'll give you a synopsis on it real quick, but let me just finish up here on Bank of America. Bank of America, I remember buying Bank of America. I have to go back in the monthly chart here, but I remember when it dropped in 2009, and yeah, it got as low as like $2, $2.53 in February of 2009. I think I remember buying Bank of America like at $3 or $4 after that crash, and then I sold it at like $5 or $6, and I was happy with that. But yeah, had I held on to it, I've been doing pretty well, holding on to Bank of America. But wow, yeah, I have made some good trades in the past, and I was investing in stocks back in 2009, 2008. I've been investing in stocks since like 2005. 2005 was when I bought my first stock. My first stock was like Google and Google and Boeing. Yeah, because I bought stocks when I first got out of college. Not when I got out of college. When I first got out of high school, and I got my first job out of high school. When I was still a freshman in college is when I bought my first stock. Yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna just finish up here on Bank of America. So what can we do here with Bank of America? If this, let me just do a quick Fibonacci, see how high Bank of America could possibly go in the future here. I'm just measuring from the swing high to swing low here, or some people say swing low to swing high. When I measure from top to down when I measure from the top down to the bottom, it gives me these Fibonacci extensions to the upside here, and I can see that we have a 1272 Fib extension where Bank of America could get up to like $62, $63, and then we got a 1618 that says Bank of America could get up to like $73 here. So there you go. That's your upside targets for Bank of America. All right, let's go ahead and look at Ethereum, right? Because we got a guy here that wants to look at it real quick here. And let's see, Ethereum is currently trading at $3,011. I'm on the date. Oh, I gotta get into the daily time frame. Daily time frame. This is what the chart looks like here for Ethereum. I'm gonna pull up the VRVP indicator. We have if Ethereum is gonna continue being bearish and go to lower prices, we have a point of control at like 2,600 bucks. I think 2,600 bucks is a good area to buy Ethereum if you want to buy it at cheaper prices. That's the same area that it was at back here in May, June, and July, where Ethereum traded sideways for like the longest time there. That's going to be your support zone for Ethereum. And then to the upside on Ethereum, you do have a high volume node here at 3,300. And then you got another high volume node here between 35, 3,600, which is where that 200-day moving average is sitting at. I would consider selling Ethereum at $3,500 if we ever get back up to that level again here in the near term. But I think the ceiling for Ethereum, I don't know if Ethereum is actually going to get past this $3,800 level here. Because you got a value area high sitting right there, this white line. You also got the blue and the green line. The 100 and the 50-day moving average is sitting at 3860. I think that's as high as you're going to see Ethereum go in the next few weeks here, okay? If it even gets back up there. We don't even know. That's just an idea. We don't even know if it's going to get back up there again, okay? But if it does, I think there's going to be a lot of people selling, okay, at $3,800 before it even hits $4,000. Cameron was buying stocks in 2009, and he was buying Facebook, Bank of America, Amazon, and Berkshire Hathaway. Berkshire Hathaway, that's a pretty hard stock to get into. Unless you're talking about the B shares. Like, if you try to buy Berkshire Hathaway, let's just show this here real quick here. If you think Bitcoin's a high price. Berkshire Hathaway A shares. If you want to buy Berkshire Hathaway, you gotta have 757,000. You need to have almost $1 million to buy Berkshire Hathaway. Just one share. You need $757,000. You guys talking about Bitcoin being a problem to buy at like 100K. Berkshire Hathaway is like $757,000 a share. Okay, now most people can't afford that. This stock is usually owned by like insurance companies or institutions and banks. Most people end up that want to participate in Berkshire Hathaway. They buy the B shares. Okay, so the Berkshire Hathaway B shares, they're currently trading at $505. All right, so. But I remember, I think it was at like $5,000. They must have done like a stock split, because I remember seeing Berkshire Hathaway B at like $5,000 a share. Let me go into the multi-time frame. I bet you was there a stock split? I'm trying to see if I can find it here. I can't really find it. But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure this thing was trading at like $5,000, and they must have done like a 10-for-1 split, and now it's at like $500. But I can't find that right now. Oh my God, Cameron, you bought Berkshire Hathaway A shares when they were at like $76,000 a share? Wow. Okay, congratulations. And if you still have one, you're doing all right still. Yeah. And somebody in your family has 10 shares of Berkshire Hathaway A stock. That is insane. Congratulations to them as well. That's even better. That's crazy. Berkshire Hathaway. Like we said, Berkshire Hathaway A shares. $757,000 a share. They don't do stock splits. You gotta be wealthy to own Berkshire Hathaway. FK Hani is asking me about Solana. I actually looked at Solana earlier this live stream, so now we're getting some repeat requests here. But I'll give you a synopsis so I don't end up repeating myself. And we're getting towards the end of the live stream anyways. Let's get into Solana real quick here. So I have done previous chart work here. Solana did do a double bottom here on Friday, November 21st, and also December 1st, where we saw it go down to like $121 and $123. If this is a double bottom, then you just measure between the bottom and the top in between the two bottoms. This yellow line here is that measured move. You put on top, and you put on top of the top in between the two bottoms. And you're looking at a measure move that takes you up to like $166, which is where we were trading at back here in the beginning of November. I'm expecting that to be a take profit target for Solana if we ever get up there. But there is another take profit target to the upside where you could see Solana get up to the 200-day moving average at $177, that red line right there. And that should be your swing trade long-term take profit target, in my opinion, because we don't know if Solana is ever going to get above that 200-day moving average. For Solana to get up to that 200-day moving average would be like a welcoming miracle for it to do that at this point. Okay. So yeah, that's going to be the ultimate take profit target for the swing traders out there. And when I say swing trading, you're talking about like buying Solana now and then maybe selling it a few weeks or maybe a few months from now at $177. It's going to take some time for it to get up to that price. Okay. But $166, that could happen in the next few weeks, maybe later on this month here. And I have game plan. I actually bought Solana. I bought Solana on Monday at around like $123. Like I think it was like $123.90. I didn't get the exact bottom, but I already took profit on that Solana trade when Solana got up to like $143. I was like, all right. My take profit is going to be the highs from last week. At November, in November 26th, we saw Solana go up to $144. I was like, all right, that's going to be where I'm going to take profit. We came up there, and now we got lost, those levels at $144. And we're hopefully trying to make a higher low here on Solana. We shall see. Kind of like we're trying to see if we're going to make a higher low with Bitcoin and Ethereum. All right. But if you talk to the bears going to say, hey, buddy, this looks like a bear flag to us. And, Solana could go down to lower prices. And if Solana does go down to lower prices here, if this is a bear flag, right, and we just continue dropping to the downside here, we could see Solana go down to $91. Okay. And that would be a bear market low. That'd be lower than what you did here in April. Okay, so in April we were at like $95 here on Solana. So you just don't know. I put the stop loss, I would put stop loss below the lows here on Monday or even the low here on November 21st at $121 because you do not want to find out how bad it can get for Solana if we do lose that $121 level there. Do I think we're bottoming out here on Solana? Only if Bitcoin's bottoming out, because if Bitcoin's going to drag us down to like 70 or 60 grand, then Solana's probably going to go down to like $100 or less than that. Yeah. So pray for Bitcoin and pray for your cryptocurrency spot bags here. But I actually did enter a Bitcoin long. Was it? No, I entered a Solana long. Oh man, I think my Solana long might have got taken out. Yeah, because I had my stop loss at $131. So unfortunately, my trade got taken out here because I keep my stop losses tight. But early in the live stream, I did try to buy Solana at $132, and I had the stop loss at $131. I got stopped out at 130.95, and we're still going lower. So yeah, that's unfortunate. And I think that's it. You know, I wasn't really trying to do too many scalp trades today. So, you know, I saw there was potential for a bounce back here this afternoon, but it looks like we're going to continue going down to lower prices here. Okay. And that was the overall trend. Like, I was expecting lower prices. I was expecting a little bit of a bounce this afternoon, but I am expecting lower prices going in this weekend. So I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news here, guys, but it looks like the market's not done going down yet. Maybe we might get a bounce back later on this weekend or on Monday. We shall see. I'm not quick to call things manipulation. This is not manipulation. This is just the markets doing the markets, right? You can't just call it manipulation because prices are going down. When prices are going up, do we call it manipulation when the prices are going up? Like, were we saying that Solana was being manipulated to the upside in September? No. You guys were okay with it going up to higher prices, but when things go down and go against you, you know, some people say, oh, it's being manipulated. It's being manipulated. But no, it's like there's money leaving the system right now, right? If I go into the oscillators here and I show you the money flow, right? All this money flow is in the red, okay? We've been seeing red in September. Back in August, we saw, you know, money going into Solana on the daily time frame. But then you got red here, red, some more red, okay? And that's just profit taking. People are taking profit. I bought Solana myself, you know, back in 2022 at like 13, 16 bucks. And I sold it at 200 bucks. I took profit at 200 bucks. And I've been taking profit. I still want to take profit. I want to see Solana get back up to like 150, 160 bucks and take some more profit. So, no, it's not manipulation. You got people that bought years ago that are selling, such as myself. We're dumping on the new guys here. Sorry, it has to be that way. But you know, we were trying to tell you guys to get into crypto two or 3 years ago when the prices were good. I don't know. Arki Honey, you're thinking too much into it. We're still in a bear market in cryptocurrencies, okay? And the Bitcoin OGs and Ethereum OGs, the people that have been in it for a while, they're selling because they bought a long time ago, and we've been in a bear market. Like here in Solana, like we lost the 200-day moving average. I was bearish on Solana when I saw that. Okay, so when you're in a bear market, you're expecting prices to go down rather than go up. Okay, until you start making higher lows here. Now we were trying to make some higher lows here on Solana, so it's not completely game over yet. Okay, but if we start making a lower low, then we're still in the bear market here. And yeah, you're gonna see lower prices if that's the case. But just because we're getting interest rate cuts for next week doesn't mean that we're gonna continue getting interest rate cuts. And you need to know, you need to understand why we're getting interest rate cuts. We're getting interest rate cuts because people are losing jobs. If people are losing their jobs, who's going to buy the cryptocurrency off of you if they can't afford to put food on their table? You got to think about that for a second. So yeah, they're going to lower interest rates, which is going to be good for people who already have money, who already have assets. Because what they'll do is they'll just refinance. Like if they own a bunch of houses, they'll just refinance their mortgages, take money out of their house, take equity out of their house, and go buy, you know, whatever with that money. Okay, but the people who are losing jobs, are they gonna buy cryptocurrencies? No, because they gotta put food on their table and pay their rent or pay their mortgage. So You got to understand, why are we getting interest rate cuts? It's not just, oh yeah, interest rate cuts means the markets go up. It's not always like that. Okay. So I wouldn't call it manipulation. It's just the markets are doing what the market's going to do. And in this case, it's going back to Bitcoin. Let me just finish off on Bitcoin. You know, if Bitcoin is going to continue going to low prices here, I'm expecting a bounce back at like 87K to 86K. I highlighted this in the red here on the right, but this right over here is where I identify. This is where I'm trying to buy a Bitcoin long at 87,400. Okay, and that's mainly because if I pull up the VRVP indicator here, you'll see that there's some volume here at 87K. We got a high volume node here, so this should be a support area for Bitcoin at 87K. And there's also some support here at 84K as well. Okay, so 84K, 87K. But right now, you know, I'm trying to see if I can get filled at 87,400 for my Bitcoin long. Okay. And then maybe Bitcoin makes a higher low at 87,400. We don't have to go lower than that. All right. But we shall see. That's why you guys gotta stay tuned. Come into these live streams, ask me questions here. I still think we can continue going up to higher prices if we make a higher low. And we could come all the way down, right? All the way down to 84K here, okay? Because we saw 83,800 on Monday. We could go down to like 83,900, still qualify as a higher low and go to higher prices. It's going to hurt. It's going to suck to see Bitcoin go to 83,900. But it still qualifies as a higher low. If we come down here and go up to higher prices, you're still making higher lows on the daily time frame. However, I don't know if I can wait that long, or I kind of want to throw my hat in the ring at 87K, see if we make a higher low in this area before you know, if we do go lower, I'm gonna keep my stop loss tight, about like $500 to like $1,000 from 87K. So maybe I have my stop loss at like 86K. But if I get stopped down on my long, I'm gonna try to go long again here at 84K. All right, and see if we're able to respect that level to the upside. But yeah, guys, that's gonna be it for this live stream. I said that a bunch of times already. I've been live here for about a couple hours. My next live stream is going to be Monday, same time, 12 p.m. to 2 p.m. Because it's December 8th, I'll try to play some 80s music, okay? So we'll listen to some 80s music on the live stream while I'm not anything like, you know, copyrighted music, but, you know, 80s theme music, like music without words, for the next live stream on Monday, okay? Till then, good luck trading and investing in whatever asset you get into, guys. I'll see you on the next live. Take care.